Good evening, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Let's Talk About It with Rev J and Joy. Of course, Rev J is not here today. He is on vacation with his lovely family. So tonight is ladies' night. It's just me and my girls. We kicking it, and we're gonna be, having fun, being transparent, and doing what we do. So let me introduce you to my panelists. We have the beautiful Saveda,
Hi, everyone.
and we have Lady V.
Hey,
Hey.
everybody.
And we have Chrissy.
Hello.
And we have Raina.
Hey y'all.
And now Saveda has a show, a podcast that comes on every Thursday at 6:30. It's called Come Through with Saveda. Saveda, tell us a little bit about your podcast.
Well, it's a podcast where you can come on as a guest or just come on social media if you want to listen to a good conversation with different people. We're very transparent parents. We're honest. We keep it real. If you're a Christian, you might not. My show might not be for you. I'm a Christian, but I cuss a little bit. So, but no,
A little bit.
it's a show where we talk about any and everything. I developed this platform for healing men and women. Things we talk about anywhere from abuse to drugs, education, church, you name it. But we do not judge. We just talk about a little everything to get all that hurt and pain off your chest. We all need to talk to someone. So that's what my show is about.
Okay. And it's a good show.
Thank you.
And I also have Lady V, and she has a podcast and a show that comes on every Monday night at 6 o'clock.
Tuesday.
Tuesday night at 6 o'clock. BTS, Breaking the Silence. Tell us a little bit about your show, Lady V.
Oh, breaking the silence, you have a voice. So we just want everybody to know out there that your voice can always be heard on our show, whether we agree with you or not, whether we like what you say. You always have a voice. So that's basically it. Now we're getting ready to start it where we do backstage. So if you want to come backstage with Lady V and some of the people that's on the show, and we really talk about it, then we're gonna start what's backstage, because sometimes people don't feel it's free to talk about it on the Facebook, but we can talk freely behind closed doors. So
Yeah.
y'all join us every Tuesday at 6 o'clock.
Yes. All right, ladies, it's about that time. Tonight we will be talking about, do Black women prefer being single mothers over their desire for being wives? Now, I came up with this because my daughter was talking to me. My daughter's 22. A lot of her friends, they all, in college, getting ready to graduate soon, or some have graduated. And a lot of them, she says, always talk about, oh yeah, I can't wait to have a baby, and I'm gonna have a baby this time, and I'm in about a few years. But no one's ever talking about getting married. And I asked her, I said, well, do your friends, do they want to get married? And she was just like, no, not really. They just want to have babies because, there's really no need for marriage anymore. And that baffled me because I figured it's all girls' dreams. You hear the stories about all women dream about getting married one day. Um, and I think we all think about, having babies, and, when you're young, like, I'm going to have 4 babies. This is going to be their names, and, all that other stuff. But I always thought that, just in life, that marriage and babies go hand in hand for most little girls, but that doesn't seem to be the case.
Mm-hmm.
So, and everyone here on the panel, we all have children. Some of us are married or were married, and and all of us, I think at one point or the other, have been a single mother. So, Saveda, what would you say? What are your thoughts on? Do you think that Black women prefer being single mothers over being married?
I do not. I just think it's probably the environment that those young girls and other young girls are grown up into. I mean, my mom was not. She was married before my birth to my sister's father, but she never was married to my father. But for me, I didn't see a positive role model. When I say role model, I'm talking about like a marriage, like an example to say, hey, that's what I want to do. However, as I got older, I started meeting people, making friends of my own, and seeing how much marriage and how much marriage meant to me as I seen positive role models. So it just depends on, I think, the person that you're speaking with. For me, I've never ever been married before, but I have 3 children. Um, but that does not keep me from not wanting to be married. I think the fairy tale is, hey, yes, we want a husband one day, but in a black community, it does not always work like that. You know, you meet a guy as I did young, and you think you fell in love, but and you end up years later with 3 children before marriage. So it just depends on the environment, in my opinion.
Okay. Very, very true. Lady V, what are your thoughts?
I think I was just the opposite. I never wanted to be a mom or a wife. That
Oh,
was
wow.
never something that, I saw myself being. So the situation changed when I had my daughter, and I felt like I needed to get married, but that was not something I ever desired to do, which is probably why I wasn't successful back then, because every time I got married, I didn't want to be married. I wanted to be single. So, um, I kind of felt like it was harder being a wife and a mother versus just being a mom. I was great being a mom, but then when I added a husband to it, it seemed like it was a little complicated.
Okay. Chrissy, what are your thoughts?
You gotta ask me that question again. You know, it took too long to come to me.
Yeah.
Right. I tried to hold on. I'm
Do
sorry.
you do you think that black women prefer being single mothers over their desire to be married?
Okay, so if you're talking about the generation of them, of angels people, probably due to influence of what they see happening around them, they think baby daddy is cute. Me personally, I wanted to be married, and I had the structure around me. We grew up in the area that we had a lot of married people around us. Me myself having the parents that was married over 40 years, it all exists. But over the years, you get exposed to different things. You get to be out there and have them boyfriends, but then they want to be cheaters. You get to see and be exposed to, my dad was a cheater. You get to be exposed to that, and then some things start changing. You start understanding your worth, and then next thing 39 with 2 kids, single mom, and I'm happy that way, only because I feel like I'm very, very picky at this point, and I feel like a guy will definitely bring me to a point where I do not want him to be my third child. And if I feel like that's happening, I can't settle. And so when they cheat, I'm gone. And I've just never been that type where I feel like it's worth fighting for, because I can see through the lion. So yeah, being single it's been great. I mean, I'm the single mama, but I would have preferred marriage if they didn't cheat. I would have preferred marriage.
All right. Ray, what are your thoughts?
Um, I guess from a child's perspective, me growing up and I wasn't my parents were married when they had me. They had 3 children. My dad already had one from a previous relationship and my mom had 2 from a prior relationship. Um my dad and my mom went through like a terrible divorce. So what I got was the 2 fighting parents. I live with dad sometimes. I live with mom sometimes. I experienced the pettiness. So when I was growing up, it was like, yeah, I kind of wanted to be married, but then I was like, not if it's going to be like this. Like, I don't want to do this. Um, I always had the desire to want to have children. I had my children pretty young. Like my oldest daughter, I had when I was 17. But yes, I think seeing different things bring a different perspective into play. And then getting into relationships that I, have been in, um, it changes your perspective. I am married. I've been married for some time now. Me and my husband are doing way better than we were back in 1998, 97. You know what I mean? We separated. I had another baby by someone else, Joy's niece. um, so things work out how they work out. But the general synopsis for me was that I wanted to be married with children. It never was I wanted to be a single mom. I do think that this generation thinks that it's easier than to deal with the nonsense that some of these men are bringing to the table. Um, and I can understand because I have some friends. I've been through some things. I mean, I've been through some things. So I get it. Sometimes it's easier just to say, why go through this? I could just raise my kid by myself and not have this extra nonsense going on or being made a fool of. Because I know that was my thing. Don't make a fool out of me.
Yeah.
Just go ahead and go about your business and let me live my life. Like, just be honest. I could take it either way. Me and my husband still have that understanding. Listen, we've been married for so long. We got so many kids, and we got a bunch of kids. Some of them I like, some of them I don't. But that's neither here nor there. Regardless of the fact, like, it's just about, us now. It's about being open and honest. We've been together for off and on since like 97 or 96.
Oh wow,
But
that's a long time.
yeah, so I don't know. My general synopsis is I always wanted to be married with children. When I had to face being a single mom for a period of time, I never thought that I would be a single mom of three. I had three at the time. Never thought I'd be a single mom of three children to raise by myself. I had help, but just to be a single mom in the home, I never thought that. So I would prefer marriage with the kids, and I guess it just all depends on what the circumstances and what you're dealing with as far as a man is concerned. Because some men, to me, I'd rather deal with the kids by myself if I'm gonna deal with a headache. You can have the headache.
And
Now,
what those two women, go ahead,
go
Joy.
ahead. Go ahead.
What those two women just said is, for me, if I meet someone who actually is meant for me and he does not want to get married, I'm okay with that because of just what they just said. Like why get married? I'm not saying the dude in my future is going to do that, but I'm just saying I understand exactly what they're saying. I've been proposed to twice, and it did not move forward because of them cheating. That was back in the 90s, but at the same time, marriage today is not the marriage that when we were born. Those old school marriages that actually meant something. Now it's just like a piece of paper to some people. It just depends on who that person is. Now, there's still some good guys out there, that come together and wife a woman, and he's true to that woman. But I'm so glad that my kids are totally grown and at the house, because I cannot imagine being married and trying to raise kids in a marriage that's not being successful due to a dude is cheating. And this ain't for everybody, but that was another reason why I did not get married at a young age, because of the cheating situation.
Well, I don't know, because I know majority of the older women that I know, they've all dealt with some type of form of cheating.
That's my question. Well, not question, statement. Like the olden days, like my mother was like, fight for it, fight for it. That's what she told me with my first baby daddy. Fight for it. I'm like,
I don't believe that.
So
yeah,
that's why I'm wondering, like, was this stay behind? Like, was this my grandparents and great grandparents thing too? Yeah. Like granddad was a Rolling Stone. Now he was doing his thing too. Dad was doing the same thing. So my thing is, they just was keeping it to themselves and not telling us that they were doing this. So that's why they were staying together for 50 plus years, because they was, I don't want to say allowing the cheat, but it exists. It's just we I guess somewhere along the line they raised us a little tougher and said, nah, we're not going to do this as easily. The mosquitoes.
They did cheat back then. They wouldn't call side pieces. They was called mistresses. Yes, they were called mistresses. But for me, like, why not just stay single? Like, I mean, now in this day and time, I understand 50 years ago, but now in this day and time, I just like, for me, as long as we're together as a partnership, as companionship, as love, sometimes I think like, why do we why do I need that title? I already know who I am as a woman. As your woman, why do I need a piece of paper to prove that? So that's just some of the thoughts that I think of. And then the other part of that, I think, yeah, I do want to get married because it's an honor for a man to ask me to carry his last name, and so on. So it's a bunch of scenarios that play in my head when you come to talking to think about things like this.
Okay.
Well, I got to kind of play the devil's advocate because I'm going to flip it. Because I come from a family of longevity of marriages, from parents, with my parents, they were 65 years. My parents are going on 60. My aunts and my uncles, everybody has been married for a very long time. And then I think my generation of cousins came along and we all got divorced. I can say, I hear what a lot of women say about the men, but I'm going to say that the women were kind of tough. If they cheated, they had reason to. Now, I don't condone cheating, but women can sometimes be a little rough around the edges that can kind of push a man away. It's not always circumstances where men are dogs, or because I think that my grandfather was a good man, but my grandmother, so I'm sorry, she was just a bitch. She complained, and she's still a bitch. She's 103-year-old. She has lived a bitch life for a very long time. And I used to be like, if the man is cheating on you, I don't blame him because all she did was nag and complain. There was nothing that he ever did that was right. She always, she just did him dirty. So for me, I'm like, I have to look at even some of my friends. It's like, when you think about The Color Purple, and she said, beat her. And you told Harpo to beat her. Yeah, because you just a bitch. And it's like a lot of times women want men to be faithful, they want them to be loving, they want them, but sometimes we can drive a man away with our mouth. We get it from our mamas, we get it from our grandmamas. We're so rough around the edges in how we say things, and then a lot of times I've heard this, but that's just the way I am. And I'm telling on myself, if I knew what I knew now, because my husband uses the word finesse, I'm nothing like I was back in my cuss you out. But now I've learned how to use my baby sweethearts. I'm gentle, I'm warm, because I want to keep my man. I want him to be excited about coming home and being with me. And I had to learn that. So, I hear what because we've been having these shows, and I hear what a lot of sisters say, especially sisters, because they're my sisters. But even when you look on some of these shows on TV, and Tyler put all our business out there, he really does, he puts us out there. And we really got some serious attitudes, and men have said it to us. If I go back and ask all four of my husbands, what was my biggest problem? They would say, you was a good cook, because I'm from Jersey, but I can cook. And you was a great mom, you was a great housekeeper, and all of that. But your attitude sucked. And I was like, Dad, I got to get a better attitude. So a lot of times when we say that, well, I'll choose to be by myself then. Sometimes you need to be by yourself, because if you need your attitude together, and I'm not saying any of y'all, saying overall, when I hear women say that, sometimes we need to do an attitude check, because I know I had to get my attitude right. So when he did say something to me, now my head not rolling, my eyes not rolling, I'm not doing this, and this, and I'm just sweet. And if you can't be sweet, then that's a problem, because he gonna go out there and he gonna get some sugar.
Definitely.
I can say I was a sweet person, a nice old Southern belle from Jersey.
Oh gosh, no,
until
Chris, you're not gonna hear lie.
until they started doing wrong and bring my petty out. I'll be good. Joy
Yeah.
can
See,
complain to
sometimes
that.
I
It's almost
petty. See, sometimes I petty, and that's what I'm saying. It's like sometimes our petty can be misconstrued. Like sometimes we may think that somebody is doing something. And one thing about men, we have a tendency to be controlling. Well, I want to know who you talking to. I want to know where you're going. I want to know this. I want to know that. Well, what you doing? What? It's like we got to make sure that we got all of that intact. And
Well, I've
sometimes
never did that unless I had a reason to do it. Now, if I don't, because I didn't just wake up and it was like, okay, I guess today I start bitching for nothing. No, no, man, like no, I didn't. I mean, I don't think you can ever go to any of my exes and say Savannah was just a total bitch. What they can say, she crazy as hell, and I don't take pride in that. But you're not gonna run over me. Like if you cheated, get your ass to stepping, dude. I'm not the type of female to be like, why did you do that? Do I want to answer? Yes. Um, do I forgive easily? No, but I can't say that I discontinued my past relationships like the first time around. We worked it out. I gave another try. Then nigga, dude, it becomes a pattern. It becomes a pattern that I'm not trying to help you so. So you deuces. I'm 45 years old. When look, what V just said is accurate for some women. However, I don't like it when it's always you don't see the problem until I act the fool. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, now I'm the problem. Now because I'm acting the fool. No, you the problem because you lied and you cheated. Now I'm raising the kids on my own. Now we ain't having no wedding because you got demons that your butt need to deal with. So then you come back around, somebody, family, whoever asks, what happened? That bitch crazy. No, nigga, you was out there dipping and dabbing in AJ. No. So yeah, I ain't no victim, but at the same time, I ain't letting no nigga ride with their ways. That's crazy.
Now, do you guys think that your lives would have been better if you would have settled down with like one of either your child's father, or like if your children were able to grow up in a 2-family household? Do you think your life and your children's lives would have been better, or do you think it would have been worse?
Well, I was married to my children's father. I mean,
Mhm.
I was married to my children's father. So I can say that I can't say that it was all him. I can say that it was both of us. For one, we got married young. First husband we got married young, second husband we got married young, and that was it. We got married too young. A lot of times, and I said this on my show, little girls and little boys should never get married. And women seem to think that they're mature when they're in their 20s and in their 30s, and we still little girls and we marry little boys. So that's why a lot of times we have chosen the wrong people to be in our life, because we think that we grown up, but we're not. It's sometimes you just need to stay by yourself until you get over some things, and because you are what you draw. So I drew the wrong men because I wasn't right. I had to turn it back on me. I was not the person I am today. And it took me to go through some broken relationships and some bad marriages for me to really look at myself. I can say a whole lot of things about them, but when I look at the whole common denominator, I'm it. So I can't say that it was all them that caused the relationship to come to an end. Was one of my husbands a cheater? Yes, he was. But I still had my part in the relationship. So a lot of
What
times,
part did you have, Lady V? Because what did you do in a relationship that made him say, "Well, let me go out here and get old Sally Mae"? I mean, like,
I think I'm not saying that, because if I believe that the first time a person cheats, if you choose to stay with them, then that's a process that you have to ask yourself, am I going to trust this person again? And a lot of times we don't trust. So, that causes then a whole totally different situation, because now I'm treating you like that nigga, And now I'm looking behind, I'm looking over your shoulder, I'm checking your phone. Well, back then, because I'm older than y'all, we didn't have no cell phones. So I'm looking at wallets because now you done cheated on me. So I would have been better off just walking away because I really wasn't nice. Once you did it once, I'm like, okay, well, I don't have no use for you. Yeah, I stayed in the marriage, but I really just went through the motions because you was a provider, you was my kid's father. But a lot of my words wasn't sweet. A lot of my ways wasn't sweet. So, you got to be careful because when a person cheats on you the first time, if they are not sincere, if they are sincerely sorry, go back to my granddad. My granddad was a sweet man, but he made some mistakes. But to be abused for the rest of your life, you would have been better off just going and walking away and finding somebody that was going to treat you nice. Because a lot of times it's very hard for us. It's like that first time, even though we say, okay, let me get over it. You're not really over it because you mad as hell that this man done cheated on you. So now you used to be sweet, you're not sweet anymore. You're looking, you're lurking, and now here comes the accusations. So he may have truly, I don't know if anybody saw Acrimony, but that was a really good movie because he cheated on her once before they got married, and he never did it again. But the thing was, she never got over the fact that he cheated on her the first time. Now, when he turned around and he get with the girl for real, after she divorced him, now she want to act a fool. That is what we do. We gotta make sure that when we say I forgive you, that means that now I gotta trust you again. And if you can't do that, then you need to let him go.
But that comes with actions as words. So you have to do the assignment. You can't say, I mean, a dude can't say all that and then continue with the same thing that got him entertaining his demons. You can't. Matter of fact, I just posted that today on my page. You can't change and continue to entertain your demons. You cannot do that. Like, I have no issue no matter what. Well, it does matter what the situation is, but if you do something to harm me emotionally, spiritually, physical, whatever the case may be, and you want me to forgive you because you've learned your lesson, then you need to walk that walk that you're talking. Because if you're just not doing anything to improve yourself, then it's a wrap.
Okay.
I agree too, because that's definitely he definitely lowered your self-esteem by him going out and doing what he did, which means now the action should come in place to bring back that sense of security so that you don't feel that way again. I mean, luckily I have like an extra sense that I was like, and I knew who it was. I found it myself. Social media was just getting started. And every time I would find it, and I'm like, Jesus, it just hit me right on the front door, like, boom. So if actions don't display it, then no. And to answer your question, Joy, no, I don't see myself with any of my exes because all of them left. Well, all of them I left with them owing me money. So and I sued a couple of them.
We probably could have recouped though.
Now, I sued a couple of them. I found the judgments and stuff recently. I sued a couple too. So no, I was always the breadwinner. Nah, I'm good. So
Joy, Joy asked that question. I didn't even hear it. I'm sorry, Joy.
Yeah, I was just asking, do you think your life would have been better if you would have, your life and your children's lives would have been better or worse if you would have stayed with your children's father?
Oh no. My boys, definitely not. My daughter's father, I can say he was a fantastic provider. I never wanted for nothing. But for as him being he was a great protector. Like, I knew he had my back like two flats on a Cadillac. However, he was not a protector when it came to our problems inside the home, meaning he was still trying to take care of the other baby mama, still dibbing and dabbing over there. And as people, those Christian people say, Lord work in mysterious ways, because his cousin then will come back telling me every time he was over there. So to answer your question, no, I like my life now. No, it wouldn't have been good.
What about you, Ray?
Well, my circumstances are a little
Yeah,
different.
because you with her.
Me and my husband, like I said, had been off and on since the 90s. So my first two children are with my husband. I have my daughter, Nisi is my Joy's brother. And the other children are by my husband, the ones after Johnny. So me and my husband, when we were together in the 90s, we were both young. And I can say that we were both young and had a lot of growing to do. I thought I was ready to be, once I had my daughter, I thought I was ready to be this mom and this family and, and all that other stuff. But in reality, my husband had things that he had to deal with. I also had things that I had to deal with. Not as far as cheating when it came to, me, I was concerned. But my husband was young. We were still teenagers. He still want to hang out with his friends. He see different, females. It's just, we were really young at the time. So the best thing at the time was to go our separate ways and try to co-parent as much as we could co-parent. We would not have survived. We would not be together today had we not separated. We needed that separation period.
How old was he?
My husband was 19 at the time and I was 17 when we initially had our oldest daughter.
So and can I say so fairly? Okay, so I'm gonna say fairly. Mm-hmm. Is it really like fair to even put him in that category? Because at 19 years old or a teenager, he's a kid. Like, yeah, I think that it's
that's what I was saying. We both were so young at the time. So if I'm not saying that he was a terrible person, Joy, you know who my husband is. He was never a terrible person. I just think we were really, really, really young. Really young. We had different expectations what a relationship is. He had different examples of what relationships were. I had different examples. A lot of things from childhood and things, because we were so young, played a part in who we were at that time. But as we got older, me and my husband always have remained cool. Like, we didn't really have no issues. He did what he did for the kids and everything like that. And then after the relationship that I had with Nisi's dad, and that relationship went south, that was a whole cheating situation. It was what it was. You know what I mean? But after me and my husband sat down and we talked and we pinpointed, got counseling, because it was things we needed to deal with. Got counseling, talked about different things. We were ready to be open and honest with one another. And that's how my family came back into play. So, I guess to each his own. But if we were still together from the 90s, I would have killed my husband. Murdered was the case that they gave me. The bitches he was fucking with, they done got beat up. They done got beat up again. No, I'm not putting myself, like, me being older, I'm not going through that. Burning up cars, that's not even the way that ain't no devil. I'm not doing all that ghetto nonsense. Right. I'm not doing that. It's too much.
It is.
It's just we had a lot of growing up to do. And if we stayed together then, we would have did more damage to one another that would have never been able to been repaired. Never. Yeah.
All right. Well, I have a question
I have another question. Okay. Mm-hmm. I have one more question. So when we get with these guys, do we consider, one, their age, two, the circumstances in which they went through in their childhood and family life before we get with them? Because I know that if I had to ask questions and I had found out some things, I probably would have been a little bit more selective. And I think that in realizing that, again, in our 20s, because now, again, I'm much older than y'all. Y'all younger than me. So that means that y'all got with these relationships when y'all was younger. Do you really think that those guys were ready for a relationship?
No, I mean, they was telling their life story, and I'm like, oh, bless your heart, and I'm sympathetic. But it ain't changed their actions. They still went and did what they had to do. Yes, so, yeah.
I didn't know at that time, me being so young, I didn't know what questions to ask.
Right. There you go. That part.
I'm listening to you. You telling me,
Yeah.
Yo, shorty, yo, you looking real good. I'm like, all right, you looking real good too. So what we talking about? So we having immature conversations, and then there's some maturity to the conversations that you have, right? You be on the phone back in the day with your boo. Y'all on the phone, you hang up. No, you hang up. No, you hang up. Y'all on the phone for hours talking crazy. And then you go ahead, back in the day, you page them on the page. You're like, I love you too. You don't know what questions to really ask. You really don't.
You don't.
You
You
can
sure
you
do
can
not.
speaking from my experience, I didn't know what questions to ask my husband. Like, okay, your mother and your father cool, but I mean, they not together, but they cool. Like, why is that? I didn't ask them that. I didn't ask him like,
Right.
oh well, when your father, okay, so what happened to your parents? Why did they break up? What was he abusive? Was he not abusive? Was he a cheater? Or did they just decide to go their separate ways? These are questions at 17. I didn't ask my husband. I just saw his dad as being a good person, his mother as being a good person. And I'm like, all right, they just didn't work out. But I didn't know the depth of it until we sat down years later.
Yeah.
Well, I have a question. When you guys were having your children, did you think about, okay, what is our future? What is the future going to look like between me and this man? Because I know
just fucking. I mean, we was just having sex. Let me explain that. We were young. My husband was the first man I ever been with. I only been with 3 men in my whole life of living.
Mm-hmm.
But my husband was the first person that I was with. So so I'm in love. I'm this. I'm not asking those questions.
But did you think, oh yeah, me and him going to be married? We going to have a baby?
Yeah, I did think that. I thought that we were going to be together. And I did see, if I go back, I kind of saw little stuff then. But I was blind to that because I wanted to see the picture of me and him being together. So when I had my daughter, I'm thinking like, okay, we tied now. We together now. But he had an older son. Like my oldest son. Who, Kenyon, who stayed with me for years. Like we raised him pretty much. But I didn't put those things together. You know what I'm saying? I didn't put those things together. I just put, okay, well, he was telling me like, okay, when he was in a relationship with his baby mother, okay, my baby mother, this, and that. I never asked, what did you do?
And I never asked either because
I never asked that. I didn't ask that until later on. And then when like I say, when these conversations came up later on, then it was like, that was stuff out here in these streets. Like, that was you. That was you. You started.
But then I want to say then, and I appreciate Raina's honesty, because then I'm like, okay, in saying all of that, if you know that, again, we all got with guys when they was young and they was immature, so they did basically what they were supposed to do. Now I'm coming from a mom's perspective. Ain't none of my sons, if somebody came to me and said, I'm gonna marry your son, I'm gonna be like, you crazy, because none of them are ready. The oldest boy, young man is 35. The youngest is 27, and not one of them is ready to get married. So my thing is, if you know this, rightfully so, because where I'm going with this is men change. It takes a man a little bit longer to mature, supposedly, than women. But men really do grow up. They really do. They go through their things. They go through their immature stages. But I can't really say that the problem is men, because now that I'm in my 50s, I'm like, I don't see the men being like I saw how they were in their 20s, in their 30s, and maybe in their early 40s.
Oh, they worse now.
No, I disagree, because this is the thing.
Trust
and
me,
I can say that the core of men that I know. Now I don't know who y'all know. The core men that I know that are in their 50s, that have gone through some things and they have dated or they have been married, there are some really good men out there. But the thing is, they may not have been good men back then. They was just young. They was young doing them. But then they stopped doing them. They stopped being out there. And now they grew up, no different than us. We weren't all that mature when we was in our 20s and in our 30s. We may have thought again that we were, and then we go with that 5-year rule over women are 5 years more mature than men. No, we're not.
I don't want. I can tell you, I don't want none of my exes back. That word is meant for a reason. Ex.
Right,
But I can
right.
say this now. Of course, I didn't ask all those questions back then at the time, but I asked questions later after sitting in the doctor's office for my prenatal appointment. Me and a girl stretch up a conversation, and she's from Kilgore, Texas. I'm from Longview, Texas, and we just in there talking like two pregnant moms. And then I don't know how we got on baby daddy, and then she said, I said, "What's your baby daddy name?" or something like that. I said, and she said, "Duna." Now that's a unique nickname. I said, "Duna who?" She said, "His government name." People like that. And so I said, "That's my baby daddy too." So we're that young. Then come from after that appointment, it was two more. So it was four of us pregnant at the same time. Right now, today, he has a total of 11 children. However, the funny thing about it, it's like back then you didn't want, but now I'm hot, y'all on me. But that's basically how it went over the years. As one Christmas over to my oldest son house, where he invited his father over for Christmas dinner, and his father go, "Savannah, you turn out to be beautiful. I should have married you back then." But man, oh, that bad word about to come out. First of all, negative. But I'm just saying, like, I I am so glad that I didn't know what love was back then, and I'm just so glad we parted our ways, because he is not my cup of tea of today. That
Right.
that
And I totally agree with you. I would never get with any of my exes, but I'm saying that overall, do you not think that men grow up? Like, I'm not talking about our
I mean,
babies' daddies. I'm
they do.
saying that, overall, when I keep hearing women say that, we kind of hard on the guys because I've met some really cool guys, and I think that there's some good guys out there.
There's some great guys. I can only speak on the experience that I keep running to. A buddy of mine asked me, um, where did all your hurt and pain come from when it comes to relationship? But we were talking about interracial dating, because he got a little upset because I said I might tiptoe to the other side, either white, Hispanic, age, whatever you want to call it. And he got very offensive when it came to that. And he said, "Why?" I said, "Because," he said, "the other team is just like that." I said, "Well, I can't speak on that because I've never dated outside of my race. However, I'm not throwing it off the table at all. Like, if what I'm looking for in a guy, it has nothing to do with his income. It has nothing to do with the size of his penis. None of that. It has to do with the stuff you can give freely: loyalty, respect, understanding, um, emotionally support. Name it.
Communication.
Like, what I need somebody that's, you don't have to prove that you just hard dude, like you just ride. Dude, come on, just calm down, love me, let me love you, let's enjoy life together. But for whatever reason, it just seems that some black men are so defensive, like they don't want to open their heart up to love. And then you go over there to Becky with the good hair, and I'm like, wait a minute, that's the same thing I was trying to get you to do over here. So I'm confused.
But do
Well,
you
some
think that has a lot to do with, because I know men, and a lot of times men that I know that date women or marry women that's outside their race. A lot of time it's those women approach. Those women don't have the same approach as we do. We're more brass. We're more, aggressive. Where they're more subtle. They're more, calm. So a lot of times it's not that, and you gotta realize these, because I used to get offended when black men used to date anybody outside their black race. Because I'm like, how dare you? You was raised by a black mother. You probably got black sisters. We're not good enough for you. And then when they started sitting down talking to me, they're like, Joy, no, because if I came from a mother who was aggressive, and sometimes they were single mothers, so they had to be hard. They had to be more, tough on them. Then you get with black women, and black women are the same way. They're tough and they're rough because they were probably raised by single mothers or mothers who were hardcore. So they just doing the same thing that their mother's done. And the men are like, that's not what I need. I need a woman who's going to be able to, comfort me and be
Finesse
able
a little
to,
bit.
huh?
Need somebody who's going to be finessing a little bit.
Yeah, you have to be. You have, and I've learned that in my later years. I used to be rough. I used to be real rough, and
Yeah.
I've learned now how to turn on that sweet, and that sweet has gotten me so much more than what the yo. Nah, this what you gonna do? Let me tell you about yourself. You need to check. Look, I'm Joy,
Right.
and now I've gotten to the babe. You know what? I think we need to do this, and I don't believe in arguing. I don't believe in fighting. Like all of that stuff is stuff of my past. If we can't talk, we can't get it together. And I've learned that because of that, I'm able to get more from men than what I was when I was more, rough around the edge.
I totally agree with you.
I
It's
do
just
too.
I totally agree with you. But at the same time, I think society has labeled us so much as angry black women. And when we're not angry, we're hurt. And sometimes it just take that dude to say, hey, you don't have to be strong like that anymore. I got you. And I'm not saying that I got you financially, but it's okay for you not to be strong. I'm not going to, you don't have to be this 6, 7, 8 figure woman for me to see the true your heart. You don't have to be like it's okay to open up to me. But that's been basically I don't want to say a history, but I've ran into the type of guys where I have to be very defensive versus now like come on baby, come lay on these little bitty titty weeties right here. You know what I'm saying? Like so it's more so like that now, but I get exactly what you're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Going
And I
back
think
to some of the comments that were made earlier about men do change. My husband changed a lot. It took him a little bit of time, but he changed into morphed into a totally different person. And I can say I had a lot to do with that because I had to learn how to talk to somebody. Like I, I used to, well, I still do a little bit, but just not to my husband. Talk crazy. And sometimes that's what we do. We talk crazy because we feel like we got to get our point across. But my mother used to always say, it ain't what you got to say, it's how you say
How
it.
you say it.
And your spouse is not the person to go off on like I'm going off on somebody, whether it be at work or on the street. He's
Yeah.
not a nigga in the street. You don't talk to your spouse like that, whether it be male or female. And also, I do agree that some of these women deserve to be cheated on. Because let me say this. Let me say this. Y'all may not like what I'm about to say, but let me say this.
Say it, girl.
If all you gonna do when this man come home from work, you ain't got no food cooked.
Come
Your
on.
house ain't clean. You ain't even washed your ass for the day. You hear what I'm saying to you?
Say it, girl.
And then you expect this man to sit in this nasty ass house, no cooked food, and your ass smelling like last week's sewer.
And that's how
Well, you deserve
Mary
to
had
be
a little
cheated
lamb.
on. You
Yes.
deserve to be cheated on. Don't nobody want to smell that. Look at that. Have your stuff in order as a female. Have your stuff in order. Sit down. How was your day? How was your day?
Exactly.
It sound corny. Have them slippers out with that paper sometime. How was your day? Do you need something? Because my husband works a lot. My husband has MS. But my husband works. My husband is one of the hardest working men I ever known to besides my dad and besides his dad, one of the hardest working men, 18-hour days at work. Just to make sure he can take care of stuff. He don't want to come home to that because I know I don't want to come home to all that. Not from the kids, not from him. I don't want to hear any of that. At some point, being soft, having your pillow talk, and whether it be, if you're having a bad day, sometimes I came home after dealing with crazies at work. Girl. Dealing with crazies at work, dealing with crazy professors from school, dealing with crazy stuff going to the kids' school. Sometimes I just came home and laid on my husband's chest, and instead of yelling at him or being mad with him, sometimes I just laid there and I cried on his chest a little bit. Yeah, thugs cry too. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a thug. I'm old. You know what I'm saying? Laying on his chest. And then you know what? He'll lay on my chest and just come home and cry sometime. Because he got some stuff on his chest. But that's our pillow talk. Men need to be able to do that. Men need to be able to do that. And some of these women are hoes. Let me be clear. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you up, baby.
No, you're fine.
But some of these women are hoes. All these men ain't hoes running around here. Let me explain that.
Right.
I got a couple brothers, they hoes. But I got a couple sisters that are hoes too. You understand what I'm saying? And I mean they dirty hoes.
Yeah.
Running around here
Yeah.
sleeping with who, what, when, and why, and coming home and smiling in this man's face.
Yeah.
It's not all the men.
It's not.
I meet cool
And you know
dudes at
what
my
it is?
job. I even when I lock up some of them, they be cool. I'm like,
That's it.
how you get in this situation? Well, sis, let me tell you about it. Well, I'm not your sis, you know, because I'm still at work, but I'll listen to your story. You understand what I'm saying? But sometimes it be women. A lot of times people think these men are the ones turning these females out. I promise you, dudes
It's the
I know
women.
lock up all the time, taking bids for hoes.
Yeah.
They
And
come
not
to
only
court
that,
with their
you
best
know,
friends sitting
the
on the
thing
bench.
is, the problem is we don't know how to just be ladies. We so tough. And
Yeah.
and you know, I want to say something with Saveda. I think that when they say angry Black women, it is because of our demeanor. Sometimes it's not even our words. It's like even with
You break it up,
our
Ving.
children, just how we are. It's like somebody say something to
V, you cut all the way
So,
out. We can't
I
hear
used to work customer service. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I used to work customer service. And the sad thing about it was when I worked in the call center, I always knew who was Black. Because our whole tone, voice, everything, I used to hate it. As soon as I would say, "Thank you for calling Sprint, this is Yvonne speaking," my bill, and I'm like, I said good morning. I said it will always be us. We could never just say, I get it. You don't like your bill, but why do I have to get cussed out? And I think that a lot of times we don't know how to just be ladies. You know, it's like ladies first. Just be a lady, be nice. Use your nice words. And a lot of times it has always been identified with, well, why you acting white? No, I'm not acting white. I'm acting right. I'm going to use my nice words because nice is the right thing to do. And a lot of times it pushes men away because here's the thing. If you're single and you going off on the people in the street, you're going off on your kids, you can't use your nice words. They already don't think, well, I don't want to date her because she ain't nice. So I think that we need to be, it's okay to be nice. It's okay to be just softer. You know, it's all right to, you know, say, you know, honey, baby, sweetheart, you know, show affection in public places and all that go along. Everything doesn't always have to be, even when you're having a bad day. Oh, I'm just having a bad day. And how we, like, I would never call my husband out his name. I would never call him a nigger, or, you know, I would never cuss at him, you know, because I can say I don't like something without me going all the way up here because I don't want to offend him. I just want to make a point that this is how I feel without me offending the person.
All right. Well,
Just
Josh
learning how
asked a
to have a
question.
conversation. Just learning
Josh
how to have a
asked-
conversation, reprogramming yourself to learn how to just sit down and have a simple conversation. A conversation doesn't have to go left all the time. I had to learn that the hard way. A conversation doesn't have to go left. I found myself arguing when me and my husband first got back together and we first got married. We're arguing over ketchup. I said, bruh, you don't know how to put the top on the ketchup bag. You was raised outside on the streets. See, why you always gotta see it go somewhere else when I didn't have to do that? You know what I'm saying? Like, it's just learning how to approach and then knowing the person that you're with.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing that the person that you're with and knowing that that person who you're dealing with, you don't have to do that.
Yeah.
Some people, now I ain't gonna lie, some dudes you gotta talk to how you talk to them, but not everybody. But that's the point about getting to know the person that you're with, learning their love language, how to communicate with them, and how to talk. And my husband, I don't have to talk to him like that. I don't have to say.
But if I have to talk to you that way, then I don't need you in my life.
Yeah.
But some
That's
women
the
like
thing.
that though. That's what I'm saying. I know females who are aggressive. They deal with aggressive people, and it works for them. But that's,
Well, Josh asked a question. Josh said, "Do
Yeah.
black women need to be more softer?"
I think so.
I think so. I think so.
Well, we can say that, but we also have to look at the part. Some of us may not know how to do that. You coming from a background
Getting to know yourself is the biggest part of that.
exactly. So don't be afraid to say, "Hey, I don't know how to do that," or "Can you show me what you mean by that?" Because all I know is how to be strong and aggressive. So it's definitely communication.
But you know what worked for me? I took classes. You know, I
Mhm.
went on YouTube and I took some classes because I didn't know how to be soft and gentle. I had to learn. I had to go to seminars. I had to read books. I had to totally deprogram from everything that I learned from other people who was negative in my life, especially women. And I had to learn how to do that. I had to have it modeled before me in order for me to learn how to, because I wasn't always that way. You know, everything was with me was sharp and to the point. But then I had to start reading books and educating myself on how to be nicer and how to use my words. And the more I did it, the better I became. So I was just like you, Savannah. I didn't know how to do that either, but I had to teach, I had to learn. And in order to learn, you got to hang around some people that may know how to do it so that they can model that before you. But I did a lot of classes and read a lot of books.
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, you most definitely.
I have a question from a man. All right, guys, let's get into it. All right, right, it's gonna be okay. you already posted up. Like,
Now I'm listening.
do you think black women have become more selfish in this day and age? Women are concerned more about their own happiness and wanting to be a hot girl more than they want to be a pillar in their families.
Oh, you want me to answer that? Or you want somebody?
Yes, I want all y'all to answer that. What do
Let's
you have
start
to
with
say?
the first part of your question. I want to address it appropriately. Can you
Do you think black women have become more selfish in this day and age? That's the first part of the question.
I mean, some, but then other ones have been through things and they're learning how to get back to themselves.
Okay.
They're learning them. After being a part of some people, after being a part of some relationships back in the day or whenever they was in those, they could never identify themselves. Now they're not a part of this relationship. They're learning themselves. They're going through therapy. They're going through counseling. They're hanging out with groups. They're going on. They're traveling more. They're learning themselves. So they're learning what they don't want to deal with and what they do want to deal with, or what their ideal relationship is. So some of them are catering to themselves, and that's not a bad thing. So
Okay, because he asked this question because he felt like back in the day there used to be a big mama. You know, and Big Mama, you know, she you would never catch Big Mama twerking, as he said. You would never catch Big Mama out here, you know, trying to dress like she's 20 and they were the pillars. And I understood that part because I had a grandmother too. Every summer we went down south. My grandma walked around her moo-moos, you know, she just kept all the grandkids. That's just what she did. She cooked, she kept us, she beat us, like she was the pillar of our family at the time. And I do understand that where he's coming from, whereas though nowadays I think more and more we've come far from, okay, who's going to be the pillar? Who's going to be that one with all of the wisdom, you know, that can pour into the children and stuff like that. So I think that's where he's coming from. That's after I got him to tell me what.
So was the question, the first part of the question, did he think
do you think black women have become more selfish in this day and age, where he feels as though black women have now what he thinks is that we're more concerned about our careers. We're more concerned about, you know, hot girl summers, turning up, traveling, you know, doing things, nothing about our family. It's all about, us. Like, oh no, I need this and I want that and I want to do this and I want to do that.
Every female is not like that.
Yeah.
I have a grandbaby now, you know, your great grandnephew, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, I watch him when I want to watch him. I have a schedule with my daughter. I keep him. I still travel. I have 3 jobs by choice. I go to school. I do whatever. I do what I want. It's not about me sitting at home babysitting my grandkids, not being able to do what I want to do. I've raised my children. I've raised a lot of them. So if I decide that I want to go out with my friends, or I decide that I'm going to go on a trip, which I go on several every year. I'm out the country every time you turn around. I'm gone.
Yeah.
That doesn't make me a selfish person. That makes me a person that did what I was supposed to do when I was younger. I did everything I was supposed to do. I raised my children. I've taken care of my house. None of my kids have went without. I get my grandson. He's at my house 3 days a week. That doesn't mean the days that I'm off for work or whatever I choose to do. You know, and even with my husband my husband won't get on a plane because that's the thing him and his dad had. He don't get on a boat. I'm cool with that. We just have an understanding that when I get ready to travel, that's what I do. I like to travel. It doesn't make me selfish. It makes me a person who does things that I enjoy. But that doesn't make me selfish.
Savita?
What
about you?
I think what his description is, it doesn't apply to me at all, but I am selfish when it comes to my peace. I will not allow anything to destroy my peace. So that is I'm selfish with that. You know, I'm just to the point where if I'm dating, if it doesn't work out, bye. But I've always been like that. No, dating is just what it is, dating. But for me to have a peace of mind, yeah, I'm very selfish with that. In my time, I like my me time. So if I want some quality time with myself and you might want to go somewhere else, then hey, find somebody else to go with. I'm not one of your homies or something like that. But I am selfish when it comes to me time, because sometimes you can just be up on somebody all the time where, you know, you just need to breathe a little bit. So, but other than that, just my quality time for self and my peace. I'm selfish with that, but other than that, I can't relate to what he's talking about.
Chrissy?
I'm still trying to understand the selfish part. I mean,
yeah.
Like, what am I supposed to be what am I selfish about, or
I guess what he was saying is
the category?
I don't know. I guess
because we all selfish with our time. Like, we all need our time to ourselves.
Exactly.
We all do it. We all prioritize and do what we feel as though need to be done in that order, and we do what's best for us. But
and
I'm pretty sure that person does what's best for them too. So does that make him selfish? That's the question.
Exactly. Like, he got
so
his
is he
cave,
saying
right?
Like the model, the women back in the day focus more on the family,
where modern women focus more on themselves instead of focusing on the family.
I totally disagree with that, Dan, because I still cook, clean, the whole 9 yards. Like, I don't, like, even my kids ain't even in the house anymore. They only, they grown, but I still cook. Hell, I bake. Like, literally bake. I don't open up my side business, Sweet Olive, if you want to order cake. But I mean, like, literally, yeah, when I moved here to Virginia, my friend was a little bitty tiny thing. Now he got a whole Santa Claus belly. I cook. I do everything you can possibly think of. So when it comes to being selfish, that is definitely not me.
Me either. I don't feel like selfish. Just no.
Lady V,
you can still instill values in your grandkids and the rest of the group.
I think that I'm not selfish when it comes to my relationship, because I love being with my husband. I'm considered selfish when it comes to my children and my grandchildren, because I'm not the traditional mom. I'm not the traditional grandmom. My time, I kind of feel like Raina, I raised my children. I raised them by myself. I had them young, and I raised them to be self-sufficient for a reason. So when you had your own children, they're your children. One of my sons said to me one time, well, when you going to do your part? I said, I don't have a part. I don't have a part. I don't want to have a part. I wasn't invited to the party when I made the baby. I don't want to be invited now. I said, so for me, it's not my it's not my cup of tea. You know, when I see my grandchildren, I enjoy them, I love on them, but it is not my responsibility. If you have raised your children by now, then you not, because they grown. Once they grown, they grown. Now, if you need me for advice, you know, you can holler at me, but you're not gonna take up all my time every single day with your foolishness because you made bad choices and you want me to be on the phone with you taking up time away from me, because I am selfish when it comes to me. When it's me and Derek, it's about us. Now, I can be, if I'm out and we kicking it, we doing, don't call me. You know, I won't talk to you. You will handle your own stuff. You know, and I have to be that way because it's for them. So I constantly make myself available for all four of my children. Every single time they call me, I will always be on the phone with them. But when it comes to Derek, Derek is my sole responsibility. I cook, I clean, I make sure I'm beautiful every day when he comes home. I make sure everything is done for him. I make sure I'm that wife. But other than that, I don't care about them kids. Forget them kids. The kids is grown.
Joy, you said I couldn't say
That man
that.
say up to kids.
Joy, you said I couldn't say that. That's what you said. I asked you specifically, can I say what she just said? And you told me no. I just want to put that out there. I said that before this whole thing started. You're grown. At the end of the day, you're grown. I have one baby who just turned 11 years old. I have two 16, almost 17-year-olds. They work. They're in high school and they're in college. They're doing their thing. They don't need me for a lot of things. I spend my time with my 11-year-old. We do things together. We dress up. We go places. I totally don't neglect her. But when it's all said and done, those kids are grown. They're going to move out. They're going to start their own families. And you still need to take care of your house. The person that you're with, your house, you still need to do what you're supposed to do. Doesn't mean you love the kids any less. It just means that it's about you now because you did everything you were supposed to do. I get my grandson when I want.
Right.
I don't ask, can I get him? I just show up to the door, and when I want him, I wish somebody would tell me I can't take him. You understand what I'm saying? So I do what I want. Then I give them back after.
And that don't mean that they have. And
here's
here's the thing, that don't mean that every time you get them, they got to spend the night. Like the kids think that every time you get them, it's like long term. No, that means I might want to see them for a couple of hours. They can go get some ice cream and some McDonald's, and then I want to give you back to your.
And if I want them to spend the night, then I let them. Amen.
That is my choice. It is my
Now,
choice.
I will say,
and that's what I think.
I will say now. I don't, like, me and V talked earlier today, like, and my children are 22, 31, and 32, and we talk weekly and almost daily, like nonstop. You would think that I'm on the phone with one of my homies or something, like. And so me and V was talking earlier today, and I was, feeling a little stressed out because I hadn't heard from my 31-year-old. So, but it is other issues dealing with that. It ain't because it's a problem between us, but I have some concerns about him. He lives in Vegas. And so it's been stressing. I've been stressing behind him because I haven't heard from him. And it's just, as a mom, you wear it, even though he's 31 years old, you wear it. But he's the child that calls once a week to make sure he's good. So I hadn't heard from him this week. So I'm a little, and then his phone going straight to voicemail. But with my other two children, like when I get off the show, I'll be calling my children when I get off the show, my daughter and my oldest son. Now, if I miss a day calling them or they miss a day calling me, when we do call, they be like, "Oh, I'm dead. She didn't call me today." It's a big joke, but that's our bond as mother and son and mother and daughter. But so when it comes to my children, even though they grown, yeah, I'm gonna pick up their phone. That's most definitely.
Savannah, you just make me sick because you the reason why them boys treat me the way they do, because you are what they want. I'm gonna pass them on to you.
Hey, I'm telling you, me and my children bond are like this. No lie.
I don't know. No, that's the problem. My sons, they want that traditional mom. They want that mom that's gonna call them every day and be like, "Hey, baby." I'm not the one, because you know what? I don't want to like that. Jennifer, it's a little bit different. I don't even know if I like. I told him one day, I said, if I knew what I knew now, two of y'all wouldn't even make it. Okay, so that's the problem. I just don't have that kind of materialness that I just want to pick up the phone, because here's the thing: I don't want to hear how sad you are. I don't want to hear I just don't. Now, again, Jennifer and I, like girlfriends, we can talk. But there's days where I don't always need to talk to her every day. But they want that kind of mom. They want that mom that, gonna bake and come on over. And,
We share recipes and everything.
No, that's you the problem. You the problem. I'm gonna pass it.
What about the days where you just don't want to be bothered? Because I don't even like half of the kids that live here.
Well, see,
I want them to leave.
My
and
children,
they
one
won't
lives
leave.
in Vegas and one lives in New Jersey. The other lives in Texas. She's in college. But for us, because the way I grew up, I didn't have a bond with my mom. She's dead and gone now, and I miss her so much. But as I became an adult, the relationship got stronger. But as a child, me and my mom was like this. She did her thing. And so I promised myself I would never be the mom that I had in my life. And so from that day forward, me and my children have been like this. They have their own homes or whatever case may be. But even my friend, he's like, man, I wish my relationship with my children was just like yours. Like, y'all talk. If y'all don't talk every day, he laughs so hard when my son called me. When I told you, Joe, he'd be like, I'm dead because I didn't hear from my mama. That's the biggest joke. But like, I'm telling you, I literally stress if I don't hear it. Like, girl, ain't no 2 days going by without us talking.
I'm happy when they don't call me begging. See, the thing is, me and my husband, it's a total of 11 children. Everybody is grown except the two 16-year-olds, almost 17, and the 11-year-old.
Yeah.
I don't want it. And I've raised, Joy will tell you, all of them have lived with us at one point. I have raised them. I have instilled my values in them. I have tore their behind up. I have gave them hugs. I've kissed boo-boos. You grown.
Yeah.
You grown. I'll hear from you if I feel like, oh man, I ain't hear from this one in about a week. All right, let me give them a call. Or sometimes they'll call me. Like, my son is in the military, so I just be like, listen, call me when you can, but I want to know if they deploy you. Yeah. Stuff like that. I want to know about the important things.
Now I talk to my mom. I talk to my mom every day. Like 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 times a day. I do. The first person I talk to every morning is my mom. I call my mom and I call her. Now, if I don't call her, she gonna put out a 911. She gonna get on Facebook. She gonna call my cousins. She gonna be like, why Von ain't call me? So I already know that I started a pattern. And that's why I don't do it with my children. Because once you start that pattern, then if I don't call her, then she thinks that something's wrong and she's going to be concerned. But my kids, I don't talk to you every day. I don't need to talk to you every day. I'm like you. I don't even know if I like you like that.
But I didn't start a pattern. So why do you keep calling me, sis?
They love you. They love you.
I just
one day
I got a new mole on my left cheek. Sis, I don't need to know you got a new mole on your left cheek.
No.
Is it a mole?
I think it's important. I didn't think and I have my daughter young, so me and her are kind of like almost like sisters. That's my little baby. But I remember the relationship my mother and I had. And and we were somewhat like sisters. Like, we would talk every day, no matter what I was going through. She was the person I bounced questions to. And, it was just something. And when she passed, it was so, so devastating. Yeah. And I think at that point, that's when I was just like, and then when I hear and see so many younger kids dying, I'm like, oh my gosh, Jesus, please keep my child. But I'm like, I would never want to be a day that goes by and it's like she doesn't, even though I know she probably knows, like, oh, my mom loves me, but I want her to know that, like, yo, I love you, like, I'm here for you. If you're going through anything, give me a call. Like, I love that. Like, I look forward. Now, I don't know when she's gonna give me some grandchildren, but I look forward to possibly being the type of grandmother who my thoughts is that when she does have children, and remind you, she only have one, so maybe that might be a difference. I want to be a grandmother, like, and when it's summertime, like, all right, y'all come over to my house and y'all stay the summer with me, and we gonna have it, and I want to be, G-Ma, and I want to be, like, we gonna do this, we gonna do that. When you go back to school, you gonna be like, oh, G-Ma did this, G-Ma taught me how to do that, G-Ma taught me how to do that. Like, I want that, but I believe that's because I know that there's so much I miss with my mom. I lost my mom at 26. And even to this day, I'm 38 now, and I just be sitting there like, there's so much more I feel like, I need her for. Right. And I just wish I could pick up the phone and be like, hey, Mom, oh, this is going on. What should I do? What do you think I should do about that? And I feel like, if your children, I believe it's a blessing if your children want to talk to you, because there's some children. Don't fool with their parents now.
Don't pick up the phone when they call or But right now I don't want to be a grandma because I'm really enjoying my life. Because like I had my children at a very, very young age as well. So I am really just now getting to enjoy myself without having to have quote unquote responsibility when it comes to children. But I want grandkids, but I want grandkids when at the appropriate grandmother age. Like I want to be called.
Okay, so stop. What's the grandmother age?
When I got a muumuu dress on and my knees are bad and I'm
How old is that?
I'm hopping around the house.
How old is that? Because I'm almost 60,
but I know it ain't right now. I know it ain't right now when I like to ride motorcycles, so it ain't right now. I'll tell you that now.
So that's what I'm saying. So then when you talk about the stigma, because that's how a lot of children think. They think, you gotta remember, we're not the same how our grandmother. So I'm gonna be 58. Now, when my grandmother was 58, she was real grandma. She really was. She was real grandma. She walked me to school. She made tongue and all kinds of phrases. But today, your normal women that's in the 50s, that's the new age 30. So new age 30 mean I'm still kicking it out here with my boo. I'm still trying to go and be on my bucket list. I ain't trying to be with no kids. So then when you get in your 60s, your average 60-year-old is like your new age 40. My mom is almost 80 and y'all already know. Doc's still riding on she's still riding on horses and she go to amusement parks. She do a lot of stuff that most women do, and she like Betty White. So I'm trying to understand, because if you talking about
10 years from now, I'll be ready to be a grandmother. I'll be 55 by then. But right now,
so at 55, you're gonna be wearing muumuus?
No. Well, I'm not. I'm just saying that was a joke.
That's a nice muumuu, because I have some.
Yeah, I have one muumuu that I wear now, but that was a joke. But what I'm saying is, look, I already got stuff already booked into the end of the year. I'm not trying to be a grandmother right now. Like, I'm really trying to catch flights right now and enjoy life. Period. Like tomorrow, guess what I'm going tomorrow? I'm going to the racetrack tomorrow. We're going to, do motorcycle thing, drag racing, and all that. I'm not trying to rock no baby, right? You know what I'm saying? Like right now, it's not.
Yeah, grandma. But see, that's what I'm saying. You're only 45. I wasn't a grandma at 45. I didn't become a grandma until I was in my 50s. But if you talk about, you cannot get on the screen. Go back. So I didn't become a grandma until my 50s. But my thing is, I'm not your typical 50-something-year-old woman. So when I listen to the man and he asking the question about the tradition, I think that's the problem that my children have. It's like, lady, you are 57 years old. You should be settled. You should be grandkids. In their mind, the traditional grandmother is baking and go. I'm not that traditional grandma.
That's gonna be me when I do get. But like I said, I don't want to be a grandma until I'm in my 50s. However, I am that grandmother.
So you're gonna make me look bad. You're gonna make me look bad. What
No,
you
I'm
gonna do? You gonna
serious
get
because
caught and make me look bad. You already make me look bad. That's why I said you gonna make me look bad.
and you already know I'm a baker, so I
Mm-hmm.
want to bake the tea cakes and my grandbabies come over and spend the night with Granny because I don't want to be called G Mom or G what I think what is it called now? Is it what how they call the new
Oh,
Glam
grandma.
I'm
mom.
Donnie, but I think
I
my
don't want
kids,
that.
my
Yeah, I want that.
kids
I
make
really want to be called grandma or granny. Like I really want to be.
Granny?
Yes, I think that is the cutest thing.
Really? Oh, that's all. I don't know. Cause I know I'm like, I don't know when my daughter I pray to God she doesn't wait too late. Cause I want to
Yeah.
spend as
Granny?
much time
I want to be
with my
called granny.
grandbabies as possible. I want to be able to because she wants to have a few. I want to be able to see all of them graduate college prayerfully. So I don't want to, her to be like, oh, I'm 40 and I want to start having kids. Nah, chick, like I need you to be a little bit younger, bust these out for me. So
Yeah,
Second part
I
of the
enjoy my
question.
grandson at the age I'm at now. I'm
yeah,
only
you what
41.
40,
I'm
41?
41. I enjoy my grandson. I like
Cause you're
the
still
fact
young
that
enough to run around and do all the other stuff.
we just went to Sesame Place yesterday. I want to, I like the fact that I'm able to do things with him and we can do things together and I'm still mobile enough to do it or whatever be the case. Do I want any more grandkids right now? No. I like the one that I have. That's it right now. It's just him.
Oh, good.
We'll
What was the second part of your question, Miss Joy?
The second part of that was are women more concerned about their own happiness and wanting to be a hot girl more than they want to be a pillar in their families?
That depends on the person. Do I want to be a hot girl? Yeah, for the dude that I'm with, I want to be, his hot girl, but not out there in them streets though. So
correct.
Well,
okay. So you say hot girl. What is hot girl?
Yeah, that's a good question.
What I'm thinking,
Like
he was referring to was like, like there are some like Instagram models that are actually grandmothers. Like, what's that girl name? She was caught up with T.I. and Tiny and them.
The Burgos chick.
Yeah.
Burgos girl.
But that's her business though.
Yeah, but she's a whole grandmother.
But if that's what she chooses to do in her life, who is anybody to judge a person?
Well, all I'm
how
saying,
they
I
want to
wouldn't
live
want her
their
to be
life.
my grandmother. Okay.
Who you talking about?
Yeah. Bernice. Yeah. Her name
Bernice.
Burgos.
Oh,
Yeah.
I follow Bernice. Yeah, but Bernice,
Yeah.
she's in her 40s. She's in her 40s. She's very
She's a
beautiful.
grandmother.
Yeah. Like for me, I follow her on social media, so I don't judge her because to me, what she does, I've been following for so long. That's her job, being a model.
Right, that is.
She get paid for that. And what I like about it because she's very open and honest about her plastic surgeries. She was already a beautiful woman, but now she's enhanced her body with surgery, and she doesn't hide that. But do I agree with her and her daughter twerking? That's not for me to make a decision on. Is it for me and my daughter? No, that's not for me and my daughter. So, but to each his own.
Due to the fact they probably got paid for that, I don't know.
Yeah.
So we can't use her as an example. I would
No, because I've always said that the moment Angelica got to the age she could go to a club, and I was never a club girl. That was never my real thing. But I said the moment she got to the point where she can go to clubs, I'm out. Like I'm not gonna be.
That's
with
when
my
I started
daughter.
going to the clubs too. I think it's called the Wild Thing back then in Texas, and I was like, I know you fucking lying. That was my son, my oldest son in the club. And I was like, oh no. And I ain't been to a club since. Like that's been so many years ago.
Like,
was the opposite.
We can't frequent the same places. I can't.
I go out with my kids all the time. We don't do no crazy shit like twerking online and shaking our ass. I mean, at the end of the day, I mean, that's not my cup of tea. Mm-hmm. But I've gone out with my kids when they turn 21. We have had drinks together. Me and my girls, we to this day have mommy and daughter days where everybody come over, everybody get in their pajamas. We have our little time together. We sit in front of the TV, we have drinks, we talk. I mean,
See,
whatever.
I hope my daughter not looking at this, because that right there, what you just described, she's like, Mama, because she's 22. She'd be like, Mama,
Can we do that?
Cord is drinking. Can I have a drink too? And I said, hell no, you ain't finna drink. Like, no, you're not gonna do that. And I said, she said, Cord is my oldest son. He's 32. I said, Cord is grown. He paid his own bills. He got his own house. You still live at home. You're just in college. I pay your bills. So no, you're not drinking. If you want to drink, you better have it up around me. But you're not gonna post up with your mammy. No.
How about the fact I went back in the house because my dad was still out in the clubs. You remember that time we went to that bar and my dad had the bar magazine and was like, yeah, you was at such and such. I was like, you won't catch me out again.
But I think that you can do both. Why can't you do both? Like, I think that I'm a cool grandma, but I think that I'm a cool mom too. Am I a hot chick? Yeah, I am. You know, when I go out with my kids, I'm gonna wear my booty shorts. I'm gonna go out, I wear crop shirts. I'd still go to the club with my husband. We love to dance. We love to do things. But I feel like I'm not old. So when I go out with my kids, do we drink together? Yeah, we do. We go out, we drink. I can drink with my kids. I can have a good time with my kids.
We have a club.
We have a club. But my thing is, where is it that says that it's wrong to be able to do? And I think that sometimes my kids have said it. Like, they're like, Ma, you gonna wear that? Yeah, I am. Because I remember when the girls were pregnant and I went to somebody's baby shower and I had on the little mini dress with the stilettos, and the girl's mom and dad was like, well, we didn't know you had another sister. And my son was like, that's really my mom. And they were like, that is not your mom. But my thing is, you know, now he was like, you see what I'm saying? No, you're not going to tell me how to dress. You're not going to tell me how to dress. You're not going to tell me how to look. You're not going to tell me where to go. When I was single, I would go out and my sons would be like, oh, you can't talk to my mama. You better back off. You could be blocking my blessing. Get away.
Why is us as being young grandmothers, some of us, why am I good enough to watch your badass kids, but I'm not good enough to go out in the street and chill with? Your kids, your baby is bad.
Nah, we ain't chilling. We're not partying together.
But you want me to watch your badass baby falling out in the street, knowing I'll beat your ass if you fell out in the street. But you want me to watch this one. But we can't go out for a drink. You want me to be home in a muumuu dress, just sitting there saying, "Come in, Tommy," while he's throwing himself on the floor. Your kids are bad as hell. Take them with you to the club. I don't want to watch them badass kids.
We can't party together. There is no way I'm going to be.
We should be able to go out together, have a drink, sit at home together. I mean, it is what it is. I didn't get to do that with my mom. My mom has since passed on. My mother passed away in 2018. I met Joy and them at Hallelujah. When I moved to Jersey from Brooklyn, and I'm in Maryland now, but I didn't get to do those things with my mom. My mom was a minister. She did what we was raised in a way, and she just wasn't having certain stuff. So it wasn't no alcohol coming across her door and this and that. Okay, Sister Janie, I respect what you had going on, and that's the kind of grandmother that this individual is describing, and that's okay. But I'm not that grandmother. I'm not going to be here whenever you feel like you want to go out and shake your tail feather, babysit your baby, and when you want to go somewhere, my life is on hold because you had kids. That's
this is what we did. See, my parents still went out even when I had kids, and we just was in different circles. So they was hanging out at their bars of their age group versus me going out to where I was going. And I would come home drunk, you know, they would come home drunk on their time. I laugh at them. They was laughing at me, cursing me out. But at the same time, we ain't going to go do it together. I cannot picture myself out of the club next to my mother and I'm throwing it in a circle next to her. Thank you.
I can't do that.
No.
Don't put in the circle.
But we don't go to club. We go to lounges. We go to bars. But
she just said it. I don't go to
technically.
clubs. I don't go to the clubs my kids hang out in.
No.
I go to places like out here in Maryland. We have a place called Bus Boys and Poets. Let me tell you something.
The kids go there. My son used to work there. He was a bartender.
I love Bus Boys and Poets, the one in Hyattsville.
I do too. Yes, he used to work at the one on K Street and the one in Brookland. And I used to hang out there. Now he used to get mad because people would try to hit on me.
Right.
But my thing is, I can't control where I go and my children may be there, because you said Busboy and Poet, but there's a lot of my sons, my kids' friends that hang out at Busboy and Poet.
But I just don't do the clubs out here in DC. Like I'm not going to DC, and I'm not going to the club. I'm not doing it. I didn't do clubs when I was young. It wasn't my thing. I just like lounges and places that are laid back where I can, drink, listen to poetry. I got up there on the stage a couple drunken nights and did some poetry and talked about the bums at my job. You know what I'm saying? Like, made up a poem or two or three. I had fun, but I don't go to the clubs my daughter goes to. Yeah. That's not my cup of tea. It's not what I do.
Right.
Yeah,
but that don't mean we can't go out and have fun, whether we got grandkids or not. You're not going to tell me.
But the thing about it is, with today's time, you may, because of the age of my children, now you got to think about it. Some of the places that, because my kids don't go to clubs, but they do like lounges and they do like over. So I can't control that you're where I'm at. If I go, like when I lived in the DMV, one of my favorite places was Babylon. Now my kids love to hang out there. They love to go there, but that was my spot. Just because you enjoy my spot don't mean I'm too old to be there. You just have to be at my spot. So
that's their problem, because they should have known that that's your spot, so they shouldn't have shown up. That's what I do. I know my parents' spot, so I know not to show up. Enjoy where you at, and I'll stay over here, because my dad was also buying my friends drinks. So they knew who my dad was to go find him and buy drinks. So I still wanted no part of that. I'm like, I'm good. Stay in the house.
Sorry, ladies.
He has
one. He has a question. Okay.
Now, what if y'all had met a guy like me?
What?
We got a club, and I travel for work.
Wait, we asked the question.
What's the question?
The question is, what if y'all had met a guy like me?
That travels, that have a club in
travels, that has horses, a club,
I don't. What do you mean? What's the following question with that? Like, what do you mean? What if we would have met someone like you? They got settled
down.
Somebody who got themselves.
What he's saying is, what if you meet? Okay, some of you have to remember, y'all
met my friends.
Y'all are young or met his friends. Like some men are a little older, so he's younger than me. I'm older than him, so he's more in y'all generation than in my generation. So what he's saying is, what if y'all met somebody that was that age and he had a club? What would you do? Because basically, you got 38, you got 45, you got y'all are in your 40s. So it's like, could I go to the same place that Joy goes to?
I mean, if that's the person who I'm dating, my child was dating and they own a club, I would definitely go. I mean, it's not my cup of tea, but if you're in a relationship, there's certain things that you do, sacrifices, or they're not really.
But what I'm saying is, okay, I am old enough to be her mom, and probably most of y'all mom.
You can hang with us if you ain't our mama.
I can. That's what I'm saying. Can I hang with y'all?
Of course. Why not?
So what's the difference?
You ain't our mama.
Joy's the same age as Jennifer.
Mm-hmm.
So
I can hang out with all you girls, but I'm not gonna hang out with my 22-year-old daughter. And back then, my children were 18, 19, 20 some years old back then. And no, I was still Luke Skywalker was still.
So is it just the fact that she's your daughter? Then what you're
right?
Well, my daughter has never went to clubs, but it was at the time it was my sons, and it was the fact that those are my babies, and like I was
so
just
you
saying,
wouldn't hang out with your children.
Oh God!
Right.
Okay, because I'm thinking that it's
their children and their friends. Your children and your children's friends.
I'm way older than y'all, so but I can hang out with y'all and
right.
Pick it.
Right. I don't have it's just solely because it was my sons. I knew we would not be part of the same environment.
And I dated a man who had a club. I think I went to his club one night when, you know, his club was actually open and people were in there. Other than that, I've gone by with him, you know, to do the daily maintenance or the checkups. But I'm not a club girl. And when I went there, all I did, we walked through and, you know, he had to check some stuff out. That's just not who I am. I'm just not a club girl. So.
Right. I'm not talking about just a club. I was just trying to find out the age thing because I'm like,
you ain't
wow,
good.
Yeah, I'm like,
no. It's just like I wouldn't hang out with
hang out with y'all. Like I'm on this show, and
then you know darn well you can. You
right?
know you can hang out with us. Don't do that. Don't do that. We were talking
okay,
about
I wouldn't be able to hang. I'm like, you know, and the only reason why I ask is because when you look at the ages of your children, I think that's why my daughter and we get along so well because, and I think that, yeah, you're right. With Jennifer used to always say, why can't I be your friend? Why can't I be your friend? Now that's when she was in her 20s. You can't be my friend because I'm your mom. But as you get older and they get more mature, then now I can go anywhere with Jennifer. I can go out with Jennifer, hang out. But we weren't like that when she was in her 20s. When she got in her 30s, now she's mature enough to be able to hang out with me and we go places and we have a good time. But in her 20s, I didn't want to hang out with the 20-year-old Jennifer.
Right. It's like yesterday, my daughter called, it's a great show, Mom. And then she said, why you still ain't had me on? Why I could have been on yesterday's show. And I was like, not body count. You couldn't have been on there. We talked about body count. She said, but I could talk about it. I said, you just got your first boyfriend. Like, so are you trying to tell me something on the slide? Like, I was really getting upset. Like, what the hell? Like,
right. I get it.
But all right, ladies, we're going to go to our final thoughts for the evening. We'll start with Saveda. What are your final thoughts?
I just my mind just went blank. No, my final thoughts are just continue to enjoy life and just don't worry about what people say in the streets. Hold it down by yourself if you have to. If you have a partner, make it work in a positive way, and just keep yourself and your loved ones in prayers as you keep moving through life.
Lady V.
Ladies, there's some cool dudes out there. You know, give the brothers a chance. I've been on a couple of shows, and sometimes we tend to be a little hard on the men. But you know, they do turn from boys to men. So you know,
the men.
Give them a chance.
I was playing.
Chrissy.
I mean, it's just some of us out here that's okay with being single, you know. But understand that single moms, some of us, like me personally, I'm able to say that I'm in a space that I know me and I'm able to, you know, build. But some of us is just okay with being single. I mean, that's just me. I'm fine with it right now at this point in my life.
Ray?
Men do change. Some of them do. They grow up and they see different perspectives. It's definitely not always a man who's out here cheating.
That's it.
It's definitely female who are hoes out here. It's not always the man to blame. Adjusting your attitude or talking to older people who have been where you were at may help you adjust your attitude. You may recognize some things about yourself that you didn't know before. And what Joy didn't allow me to say before was fuck them kids. I said what I said. Fuck them kids. Them your kids. Them not my kids. My kids are grown. I don't even like you as a kid. So fuck them kids.
Right. My final thoughts for the evening. My final thoughts for the evening is that if you are a single mother, and you really do value or want to. Why I'm getting feedback? Ray, pause your.
Oh, she's on Bluetooth in her car.
Yeah, so speed is coming back through the speaker. Final thoughts. My final thoughts is if you are a single mother, and you desire to be married, I would say do the work on yourself. Be the best mother that you can. I know it's difficult. I know it's hard. I think all women know, even if you have a husband, it's still hard being a mother. If you want to be a good mother, it takes a lot of time that you have to put into these children. It takes a lot of sacrifice. It's not an easy road, whether you have a husband or not. But I would encourage you to do the work on yourself. If you do want to be a wife, learn how to talk to men in a gentle, kinder, more gentle, more kind, more loving, nurturing kind of way. Even talk to your children that way. I know you get frustrated sometimes. You know, sometimes we as mothers, we get to our
That depends on the child. That depends on the child.
we get to our wits end. But be sure to take in account that these are lives that you're developing. And you don't want to be a hindrance or a stumbling block, or the reason why your child might feel insecure, feel that like they're not being loved, feel like no one's there for them. So take that into account. And for the women who don't have children yet, before you have children, check out the men that you're going to have children with. Preferably, if you can get married, if you want to be married, marry is much easier in life to marry a man and have all your children with that one man and build your family and y'all living at one house than it is, because there's a lot of creeps out here. So I know it's not easy. You can't let just any man in your house, because some men they're into some crazy stuff. So
check out their family too.
Yeah, definitely check out their family. Check out their family line. Go to all of the cookouts. Don't let them hide nobody. If they got some crazy people in their family,
check the back room.
Yes, check the back room, because you know they got them in the back room and they try to leave that door locked. If you see somebody going back there with a plate, huh?
It's not just the women out too. It's not just the men, the women too.
Yeah, the women too.
But
But do
not just the
right. But do your research, and if you can, try to make sure that you just put things in place. It's easier if you have a husband and you do it that way. It's much, much easier. Financially, it's easier. Two is always better than one. That's my final thoughts. And you can catch us next week, Friday. We went over time. You can catch us next week, Friday. And I believe it's 9:00 next week. But we want to thank you for coming in and for another episode of Let's Talk About It with Rev J and Joy. I want to thank all of my panelists for this evening. And we will see you all next week. And remember, you never let anybody steal your joy. Ciao.
Bye. Goodbye, guys.
Bye.